Vanessa, last year saw the delivery of a new strategy for Britain, Path to Growth in Britain. Can you bring us up to speed on how the implementation is coming along?
Absolutely, Eamon. So the end of last year saw the output of that very far-reaching project, which took a year in its totality to come to fruition. And we're now implementing the results of that in GB. And I think probably most importantly, the biggest change for us is a new approach to segmentation. So we profile 10,000 GB consumers who will be predisposed to coming to Ireland, and now there are 2 and 3 of those segments that we're actively focusing on for 2013 and beyond. And there's 2 groups there, if I can say a little bit about each of them.
Sure.
One group we're calling the social energisers, which are those people who'll be coming to Dublin or Belfast or other cities in Ireland looking for a jam-packed break, full of energy, full of excitement, full of things to do day and night time, coming for typically 2, 3, maybe even 4 days. Then the second group is an older group called the culturally curious, and as the name suggests, they're coming for something a little bit more refined, coming for arts, culture, heritage, food, music, and will typically stay a little bit longer. These are older people with a little bit more time and a little bit more money on their hands. So our focus has changed entirely in GB to concentrate on these 2 new segments going forward.
And that suggests that there obviously must be some changes in the use of communication channels.
Absolutely. As I mentioned, 2 very different groups, 2 very different needs and 2 very separate plans. So with the social energisers, it's all about social media, about online, digital activity, Facebook, Twitter, etc., and really connecting with them through the digital and social media space. And for the other group, it's a more traditional method. So we're looking at TV, cinema, print, advertising, still some online, but they're in a very different space.
Sure. Actually, I was going to ask you about that because social media clearly is very important and an ideal channel for the social energisers. But would it not seem that the culturally curious and the great escapers would be more likely to be users of the more traditional channels like TV, radio and print media? How are you handling that?
Absolutely, and you're absolutely right. So that means we now have 2 very distinct and very discrete plans for each segment. So as you rightly say, we will still be using TV in the traditional way, traditional print, supplements with some of the key papers in GB to target the older group, the culturally curious group.
And some heavy PR, presumably.
Absolutely, and for both groups year round. And you're absolutely right, for the culturally curious, they tend to believe third parties and referrals, and having that credibility is really important for them.
Sure. And as always, of course, budgets are tight and getting tighter. How has GB fared in relation to budget allocation this year? And I suppose more importantly, do you feel that what you've got is adequate to get the job done?
We've been very lucky in the past few years, Eamon, in terms of having increased budget that has allowed us to increase our TV focus. I guess this year we have had a reduction in our budgets, like lots of other people in the industry. However, what that does mean is with this new segmentation approach, we're having a much more cost-effective approach, particularly for the social energisers. So we wouldn't be buying traditional TV, which would normally soak up an awful lot of our media spend.
Sure.
So we'll get a lot more for our money by targeting those. So actually, all in all, we won't be coming out too badly at all, which is good news for us.
Okay. And I'd imagine, Vanessa, that targeting new segments means that messaging has to be segment-specific. So have you new material coming on board?
Absolutely. So since the results came out at the end of last year, we haven't had the opportunity to go out and focus on new footage, so we've been amassing and reviewing all of the footage that exists for the past couple of years, and we're very, very excited. We now have some new online films for the social energisers and indeed some new TV and cinema edits for the culturally curious, and we'll be hitting the TV in mid-March in GB and early March for the social energisers and online edits.
Dublin, bring your second wind with you. Plus, with the Gathering Ireland in full swing, a weekend here is jam-packed with even more festival, sport and crack than ever. We love a good story here, but you can't beat the real thing. Living, breathing, feeling a place. Turning every stone, exploring every detail. Stories? We've got loads, but it's all about getting out there and finding your own. 2013 is the year of the Gathering. So this year there's even more Irish culture, music and art to discover. Jump into Ireland. Visit ireland.com.
Well, all of that looks and sounds terrific, so I suppose the final question is, how do you see 2013 panning out in Britain?
There's no doubt at all, Eamon, that 2013 and even beyond is going to continue to be challenging for us in GB. The economy, as I've said many times, is still very tough there for us. We have a very competitive marketplace, and I guess the next couple of years we are going to sit tight, take it a month at a time and see where we're going. I think the most important thing is that we focus on having the right plan in the right place, and we can amend and react to the marketplace accordingly, and I'm very confident that we have that in place now.
Well, isn't that the main thing? I mean, this never turns around in a short period of time, but provided we've got the right plan in place, we can expect good results in the future, but maybe not in the immediate.
Absolutely, not today, not tomorrow, but we're on the right path. The Path to Growth project has provided a very stable platform with all of the insight that we need, and we can only but go forward.
Excellent. Best of luck, Vanessa, and thank you for that.
Thank you very much, Eamon.